team is a up. Steve Nash will do that team more justice than Chris Paul. I'm just being honest with you. He would do them way more justice. I'll tell you a team that Chris Paul can go to, and it will be a dynasty right now. Put him on the Pacers.
Oh, you think so?
All day long. The Pacers need a guy that's tough like that. See, let's move on to the Pacers. You know what? If I had to give out penalties in the playoffs, like you got pass interference and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I will charge the Pacers with this new penalty I just made up called unnecessary toughness. I think what the Pacers did, man, they went and read a how to play the playoffs manual. They went and picked up a book. Ooh, look what I found. The how to play in the playoffs manual. Let's turn to the page, toughness. And they read that. And they went out there and that's all they read out the book.
Yeah.
Let's be tough. Don't let nobody push us around. We can win this series. What's your take on them clowns?
Yeah, I think they took it over the top, especially their so-called leader, Danny Granger. He went out of his way to try to make himself look tough, standing up to LeBron, standing up to Wade, getting in their faces, and just focusing more on that instead of focusing on winning the games themselves. I mean, if you look at his numbers, he really didn't shoot the ball that well.
Uh-huh.
His play on the court, like in terms of the game itself, wasn't up to par, but he got a lot of accolades from different sports writers in the media for being tough and standing up to those guys. But you see where it got them. They're at home watching the playoffs with everybody else now.
Exactly. You know what's funny about it? Your toughness comes from you being able to take the game over and you make the game submit to you where you can say, we have dictated this series. You guys are supposed to be the best in the world, Mr. LeBron James and Mr. Chris Bosh and Mr. Dwayne Wade, but we got to take that from y'all. And they didn't do that. And I think Danny Granger really, he kind of sent the wrong message to his teammates too, because a lot of those guys started believing if we be tough, we could punk Miami. Man, Miami is ready. They're a bunch of dogs, flat out dogs, all of them. They've been there. LeBron has been there twice. Dwayne been there twice. These guys tasted it, you know what I mean? They tasted last year. They on a mission. And so what I thought Indiana should have done was really took a page out of Larry Bird's book and really did exactly what he wanted them to do. You know what I mean? Because they have all the pieces. They had that series, even with Chris Bosh. If you look at the roster in Indianapolis, that roster is it's perfect from the point guard to the 2 guard to the 3, 4, and 5. It's perfect. But I just think that it went wrong when we're going to be tough against these guys. You know what I mean? It just went, it evaporated. It's like we had them on the ropes, we let them catch their breath, and they hit us with a one-hitter quitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's move on from that because that was I don't know. Danny Granger, man, please, next time read the whole damn book on the playoffs. Don't just go to the chapter, toughness. Read the whole book, how to finish and how not to keep shooting threes and giving up the fast break. Learn to do that, Mr. Granger. I'm just messing with you, Danny. You cool, but you played yourself, bro. Let's move on to the Philadelphia 76ers. Do they have a bright future?
They got a bright future, but like we were talking about earlier, they don't have that go-to guy, the superstar that they can rely on when they need a basket. That was the problem in this Boston series. I mean, they played excellent defense. They held the Celtics to, I believe, under 90 points a game on average in those 7 games, but they couldn't get any scoring when they needed to. Like, they had an opportunity in Game 7 to take control of the game, but I mean, Iguodala couldn't do it. Lou Williams is a role player that they're trying to turn into a number one option. So
disagree? You think Lou Williams is a role player?
He's a role player. I mean, you need. He can't really create his own shot. He's pretty much a spot-up jump shooter.
No. Lou Williams. Let me tell you something. Doug Collins is a great cerebral basketball coach. And he created depth by putting Lou Williams on the bench. You can't see, most people would think because, and I think you're one of them, because you see a guy go to the bench, that means that he's not efficient enough to be a starter. No. In this day and age, you have to it's not about having your 5 best guys on the floor that can score. You got to have at least 2 good offensive-minded guys. You got to have 3 intangible guys. Drew Holiday and him are pretty much, they're different players, but like the same size. So you got a different punch coming from both of them. It's like having Barbosa and Steve Nash. And Barbosa would be Lou Williams, but Lou Williams is a scorer. I disagree with that 1,000%. No, I don't. No, I disagree with that one. Give me your take on why you think that Lou Williams is. What was
called him? I called him like
explain that again so these people can hear you because I want to hear this.
He's a role player. He's not a number one option. Like you can't rely on him to take over a game. Like another example in the West, we got James Harden who's in the same role coming off the bench, but we've seen him do it on a couple of occasions in this playoffs. Take over a game in the fourth quarter when OKC needed him. And single-handedly get them to win. I don't think Lou Williams can do that. Like he had an opportunity in this Boston series, and he didn't step up and do it. I mean, Boston pretty much shut him down.
Well, I agree with that. But how you said it at first, it just sounded like you was just not giving him enough credit. I mean, I guess I ran with that the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, I agree he's a good player, but if you put if you put another piece around him and let him create off of a superstar, he'd be even better.
I think his size hurts him more than anything. I think Lou Williams' size hurts him, but I think that explosiveness off the dribble. I think he has a decent three-pointer. You know, Drew is more of a pure point guard than Lou Williams, so that's why I think that. And then they got the size with Evan Turner. Evan Turner, he's cut kind of like from that Scottie Pippen-ish utility type player, and they have Iguodala. If I look at that team, I'm going to get off the Lou Williams thing. I think they got to find a real big man that can score. I think they need a 4. I think they need a real 4. A future 4. A 4 that can get the ball like a Zach Randolph type guy. A guy that can go down there and just debo and just take over the game. Like they need 2 buckets.
Yeah.
We ain't got to do all this motion offense. Pound the ball, we in the game.
So
Pound the ball, we in the game.
Saying they basically need young Elton Brand because they got old Elton Brand now, but
yeah, they had a young Elton Brand but I still think they need a sizable guy. I think like with Young and Brand, those guys are kind of undersized. I think they need a real 6'10", true 6'10" dog down there. Yeah. They need a flat out dog at the 4. And I think with everything else, I think it falls in place. And I think they need some veteran leadership too. I think that would be a good spot for Lamar Odom to go to, where Lamar Odom can come off the bench or he can play at the 4 or 3 and be a point forward a little bit. You know what I mean? But they gotta find a way to get another big man that can score. Let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks. Your squad.
Yeah, that's my squad.
Your squad. For real.
I don't like what they did though. Like they started back in the offseason when they let Tyson Chandler go. They were trying to, I think, position themselves to try to get Dwight Howard and Deron Williams, and they pretty much gave up on this season, and it backfired on them. I mean, they made the Lamar Odom trade, but that didn't work out from the start. That was doomed, and they had to tell him to stay home before the playoffs started. So, I mean, they ran into Oklahoma City, and they just didn't have the guns to match him in terms of scoring. They had Dirk, but some of the other scoring options like Jason Terry didn't have a great series. I mean, they were relying on Vince Carter to score, and I mean, he's a nice role player now, but you can't really rely on him to go up against a Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook when we're talking about firepower. So,
exactly.
I'm hoping that they I don't know, they still got a chance to sign Deron Williams this offseason. They may go after that. He's from Dallas. He wants to. I think he has some interest in playing there, so we'll see. But they got some work to do.
Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Steve Nash are really the anchors of the NBA for the last 15 years. And Kevin Garnett proved, I don't have to be selfish, I want to win, when he was willing to go to Boston and play with Ray Allen and Paul Pierce. Tim Duncan has recommitted himself physically to play for another 3 or 4 years, the way he's playing. He's going to age gracefully. Steve Nash has showed loyalty to the Phoenix Suns by not asking for a trade and was willing to teach and help build Phoenix back up to try to be something. It didn't happen, but he stayed out of loyalty. I respect to take my hat off. The other 2 guys, no, Paul Pierce stayed too, and Paul Pierce has recommitted himself. He still has about 5 years left, 4 or 5 years as a serviceable player. There's 2 guys I left out. I left out Kobe Bryant, and I left out Dirk Nowitzki. Two guys that have always been two of the powerhouse guys in the league, top 5 scorers, top 5 players for the last 10, 15 years, and both of them have the same issues. They're going to be hard to play with because they are spoiled brats. And Dirk Nowitzki is at a stage in his career where he has to do more to help the Dallas Mavericks than shoot jump shots. He shoots too many jump shots, and it's going to be hard to put talent around him. Just like when Kevin Garnett was playing in Minnesota, they was putting Kevin Garnett at the 3. He should have been playing 5 all along. He should have been a center his whole career. They had him at the power forward, even though that helped preserve his career. Now he can play center, and he can last for 2 or 3 more years at center. Dirk Nowitzki needs the ball too much. And if I was Deron Williams, regardless of the fact that I'm going back home, I'm going close to home, wherever he's from, somewhere in Texas, Dallas, wherever, he better stay in New Jersey. Because New Jersey has a bright future with Marshawn Lynch, Gerald Wallace, Lopez, Deshaun Stevenson.